Hey, fellow evolvers, Tina here, and welcome back. If you're new here, this is the space where we keep it real, raw, and honest. I'm not here because I've got it all figured out. I'm here because I don't. I'm still evolving, still healing, still learning how to choose myself every damn day. And maybe you are too. Because growth, it's not a clean step-by-step process. It's a wild, unpredictable ride full of highs, lows, breakthroughs, and breakdowns. Am I right? Some days you feel unstoppable, and other days you're just barely getting by. But no matter what today looks like for you, I just want you to hear this. You're not alone. I am right here with you. And here's what I want you to know for sure. You're not here by accident. You're here because something inside you knows it's time to do life differently. You've spent years holding it together and showing up for everyone else, but now you're finally ready to show up for you. This space is for the women who are done pouring from empty cups, who are tired of being everything to everyone but themselves. It's for the ones who feel that quiet pull deep down, the knowing that there's more to life than just surviving, more joy, more peace, and more purpose. And that brings me to today's episode. We need to talk about something that most of us have been taught to fear, and that's imperfection. We've been raised in a world that praises polished and perfect, but the truth is, perfectionism is such an illusion, and chasing it will keep you small, stuck, and disconnected from who you really are. So today we're going there. We're talking about the beauty of being imperfect and how embracing the messiness of who you are might just be the key to unlocking your greatest potential yet. Because you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to have it all together to be worthy. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. So let's start here. We live in a world that literally worships perfection. You see it every time you scroll through Instagram. You see the perfect bodies, the perfect homes, the perfect relationships, flawless skin, the highlight reels, curated lives that look effortless. And even if you know it's filtered, you know it's staged, somewhere deep inside, it still plants this little seed. You should be more like that. You should have it more together. You should be better. It's not just social media either. It's in magazines, it's in ads. It is literally the way we were raised, praised for doing things right and corrected when we fell short. We learned early that mistakes were something to be ashamed of, that flaws were something to hide, that our value came from how well we could perform. But here's the real kicker. Perfection builds walls, not bridges. It might protect you from judgment, but it also keeps out connection because connection doesn't happen when you hide behind a polished image. It happens when you show up as the real you, the messy you, the figure it out as you go you. I want you to think about this for a second. When was the last time you really connected with someone because they had it all together? Was it because they were honest about what they were going through? The truth is, we don't connect through perfection, okay? We connect through honesty, through the moments when someone is real enough to say, hey, me too. So let's just clear something up here. Embracing imperfection isn't about giving up. It's not about settling or saying, well, this is just who I am, take it or leave it. It's about acceptance. It's about looking at yourself fully, honestly, and saying, I'm still growing, and that's enough. I have flaws, and they've shaped some of the best parts of who I am. I am a work in progress, and there's nothing wrong with that. We live in this lie that says, once I fix everything about myself, then I'll be worthy, then I'll be ready, then I'll go after my dream, or then I'll speak up, or then I'll finally love myself. But the real growth, like real power, starts the moment you realize you don't have to earn your worth. You can be evolving and still be enough. You can be unfinished and still unstoppable. Growth doesn't make you worthy. It just reminds you that you already are. So I used to believe that if I could just show up looking like I had it all together, like the right attitude, the right answers, smile, then people would respect me way more. Maybe even like me more. But the truth is, some of the deepest connections I've ever made didn't happen when everything looked perfect on the outside. It happened when I admitted the truth that some days I didn't even recognize myself anymore, that I felt tired, lost, that I had checked all the boxes, done everything I thought I was supposed to do, and somehow still felt like something was missing. I expected people to judge me for that, but when I finally said out loud, the right people didn't pull away. They actually leaned in and they said, "Hey, you know what? Me too." And just like that, the walls come down. It wasn't the version of me that looked good on paper that built connections. It was the version that was honest, the one willing to be seen even when it wasn't pretty. And there's a reason for that. Psychologists call it the vulnerability loop. It's literally the idea that when one person is brave enough to be real, it creates this safety for other people to be real too. It's how trust is literally built, not through perfection, but through truth. Because connection doesn't happen when you impress people. It happens when you reach people. And we don't reach each other by being perfect. We reach each other by being ourselves. Because real connection doesn't start with perfection, okay? It starts with honesty. Okay, so here's something most people never tell you. The things you are most self-conscious about, so just think about that. The parts of you you've been taught to smooth over or hide, those are the very things that make you super powerful. Your imperfections aren't failures, they're features. They hold the blueprint for your strength, your resilience, and your growth. Now, okay, so here's what I mean about that. Your imperfections build resilience. Every time you've stumbled, you've doubted yourself, or fallen short, you were building grit. You were learning how to keep going. You were proving to yourself that you could rise even when it was super hard. Your imperfections deepen connections, okay? What draws people closer isn't how perfect you seem, it's how real you are. Authenticity is what makes someone lean in and say, "Hey, I feel that too." It's how we create belonging. It's how we remind each other we're not alone. Your imperfections fuel growth. Mistakes, detours, failures, they aren't dead ends. They're the birthplace of creativity and resilience. No one builds a life they're proud of by getting everything right the first time. They learn, they adjust, and they evolve. The parts of you that feel imperfect aren't holding you back. They're shaping you into exactly who you're meant to become. Okay, for a second here, just take a moment and think about something you've always labeled as a flaw. Okay, so maybe you've been told you're too sensitive, or maybe you felt too emotional, too intense, or like you care way too much. Or maybe it's the part of you that overthinks or feels everything a little deeper than others seem to. Now ask yourself this. How has that part of me made me more compassionate? How has it shaped the way I love, lead, or connect? And what has it taught me that perfect never could? So I'll give you an example. For the longest time, I was told I was too sensitive. I'm a highly sensitive person, to be exact, but for a while I believed it was a weakness. But it turns out it's one of my greatest strengths. It's why I notice what others miss. It's why I can walk into a room and feel what's not being said. Or it's why I can hold space for people, not just their words, but their emotions too. What I thought was too much ended up being the very thing that made me powerful. Sometimes what feels like a flaw is just an unclaimed strength. And here's the best part. You don't have to wait until you feel ready or perfect to start living differently. You can begin today, like right now, simply by seeing yourself through a new lens. So let's just talk about that, okay? So now that we know imperfection isn't the enemy, how do we actually embrace our imperfections? Because let's be honest, it's one thing to know it and another thing to practice it, especially when you've spent years thinking you had to be perfect just to be worthy. So here are 4 real, tangible ways you can start embracing your imperfections starting today. 1. Reframe your self-talk. This is super important. So just pay attention to the way that you talk to yourself, because that inner dialogue, it's either keeping you stuck in perfectionism or pulling you into growth. So instead of saying stuff like, I'm not good enough, start saying, hey, I'm learning. Instead of, I've failed, try, hey, I'm evolving. Your words shape your reality, so speak to yourself the way you would to someone that you love. 2, show up before you feel ready. That's a huge one. Perfectionism will let you wait forever. And waiting until you have it all figured out, that's never going to come, okay? Or wait until you're confident. Again, confidence comes with taking action. Or waiting until you're flawless. Like, come on, let's be real. But real growth, it happens when you show up anyway. You can be nervous, you can be messy, you can just figure it out as you go. Progress beats perfection every single time. 3, celebrate effort, not just outcomes, okay? We've been trained to celebrate the big wins, like the job promotion, the degree, the milestones. But what about the days you just literally kept going when it would have been easier to quit? What about the days you chose growth, even when it was super uncomfortable? Celebrate the effort. Celebrate the courage it takes to show up for yourself every damn day, imperfect and still moving forward. 4, practice small vulnerabilities, okay? You don't have to put your whole heart out there on the internet like me, but you can start small with people that you trust. Be honest about what you're struggling with or share your real thoughts, not just the edited version of you. Because every time you let yourself be seen, even just a little bit, you're building that muscle, the muscle of real connection, the muscle of self-acceptance. Okay, so here's the truth. You will never perfect your way into feeling worthy, because you already are right now, exactly as you are, becoming, in progress, imperfect, and you know what? Super fucking powerful. So imagine this, okay? What would your life look like if you stopped hiding your imperfections and started owning them? What would open up for you if you finally believed deep down that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful? So, here's what I want you to take away from this episode today. Perfection is a moving target, and honestly, it's one you were never meant to chase. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be polished or flawless. You don't have to fix yourself to be worthy of the life you're craving, because the real magic, it's in the parts of you that are still becoming. It's in your resilience. It's in your courage to show up real, unfinished, and fully you. The world doesn't need another perfect image. It needs you, the honest you, the evolving you, okay? So if you've been waiting for permission to stop hiding and start living, let this be it, okay? Because you are not too much and you're not missing anything. You are exactly who you're supposed to be, growing, learning, becoming every single day. And the more you lean into it, the more you'll realize the life you've been waiting for has been waiting for the real you to show up all along. So that's it, my fellow evolvers. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean so much if you would share it with a friend who needs this reminder too. And I'd love to hear from you. So send me a DM or an email and tell me, what's one part of you you're learning to see differently? And if you haven't yet, make sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. All right, my fellow evolvers, until next week, keep evolving, keep glowing, and never stop showing up for yourself, because you matter. Much love.